Small talk.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's show of Small Talk, the show where we talk about absolutely nothing important at all. As always, I'm your host, Dylan, joined today by Sean. What's up, Sean?
I'm all right, man. How are you doing?
Doing good. If you guys didn't know, obviously, we are number one doing a special figure showcase here this week. Merry Christmas, by the way, to everyone
Merry
watching, tuning in.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. By the time we have our next show, Christmas will be over, and actually, the holidays will be over, I think. So, this is a pre-record. I will be traveling during this day and with family, many hours away from my home here. So, this was the main way we had to do it. We'll catch on our next show. We'll catch you back up with some news. We'll discuss kind of what's happened with awards, all of that. I think that's definitely some good stuff to talk about there. Now for our sixth episode of our Small Talk figure showcase, we are doing a few figures from the Mythic Legions Illythia Wave. You can see Sean's got them there, but we have Alder the Moose, and then we have Valak, who is part of Illythia's brood, I think is what they call him. Part of her army, kind of, and he is kind of the archer, sneak guy. But yeah, so we'll cover them here. We'll try and keep it to our normal kind of 45 to hour range for you guys here. And real quick as well, we wanted to definitely remind everyone that we currently have a giveaway going on right now. I will share the screen here. So we are doing a selfie series giveaway. We will be drawing for this soon. We want enough entries here, so we will be doing. Sean, I think, has an idea for a way to get some bonus entries into this giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to Collecting Weekly Auxiliary, our Facebook page, there will be a pinned post made by me that explains to you how to join, how to enter the giveaway. The first thing you got to do is obviously be in the group. That way you can subscribe to Collecting Weekly on YouTube and then comment on my post whatever number is next posted. I think we're currently at this time we're talking at 14. Yep. But there's quite a few people, some bonus entries. Sean's got an idea there. So when you win, you will get a Hasbro selfie series. So you get your face on an action figure, whatever you want there. As far as choices, I think there's like Stormtrooper armor you can do. Is it Iron Man?
Yeah, there's quite a few options. You could go Lightning Collection, Power Rangers, yep. Marvel. You can go Black Series,
G.I. Joe,
G.I. Joes, and I think they got some others coming out here pretty soon. Basically, a lot of just like the humanoid figures. You have a great option for.
Yep. So yeah, and we'll you will get that, and most likely I think I'd have to read on it better here, but it may be just the gift code you'll get, and then that's what you get to use it towards. So you get that, and then some added figures into this, thanks to our lovely Lane.
Lane the Legend Kramer.
We have Storm Collectibles provided by him. This is the Pink Skulls from Golden Axe. It's a Pink Skull 2-pack. They're New York Comic Con exclusive. sold out. You will get this in there, which, these are great figures you can add with anything. Even if you're not a big fan of Golden Axe, these are awesome figures. They've been redone 1,000 times, it seems like, for a reason. So definitely awesome figures to have there. And then the third item you will be getting is the... Oops, just knocked over Alder. The Hasbro Black Series Arena Boba Fett. Boba Fett in disguise. So this is the all black Boba Fett from Black Series. This is an exclusive, also sold out. Pretty awesome prizes there. So make sure you enter there. We'd like to have a few more enter, just to have some get some more people excited about this here. So like we said, we'll keep everyone kind of updated on what we'll be looking at as far as bonus entries, things like that. But why don't we get into this? So, Sean, first one, let's do Alder the Moose.
All right.
So this guy is humongous. First of all, this is the box he came in. Just as you can see Alder there on the side, the picture of him, and then you have the Illythia artwork. This is done on all of them in the wave, and then inside, that is what is different. The backdrop, kind of cardboard backdrop that you get with him, and then it's just open-faced boxing here. So this is what he comes with. A lot of people have really liked this figure overall. It takes some getting used to. There's a lot going on with this guy. But so this is by the company's Four Horsemen, and the line within Four Horsemen is Mythic Legions, which is kind of their medieval own brand. It's not based off of like a comic or movie or anything. It's their own thing. And one of the reasons I got into these is essentially the value of them. How well done they are for the prices they are. I think Alder retailed at, I believe it was $60, something.
Was
like
it
60.
Yeah,
It was very
right
low.
there.
He's definitely risen in price. He was one of the harder ones to find. I don't know if it's just there's less of him because of the size or what it was, but he was, from pretty much the get-go, one of the harder ones to find. I got him just because I thought it was awesome. I don't know how often I'll get a chance to have a 1/12 scale moose. And well done one at that. Their horses, Balius, honestly is considered to be one of the better figures out there as far as like animal figures or just, figures in general. So I figured, they are well seasoned. They know what they're doing with the moose. I think it's a cool idea for something different. Now, Sean, I'll pass the baton to you and ask you why you were interested in it. What kind of got you into this figure?
Man, I feel like you were kind of the start of it. You were talking about the Mythic Legions and just like how cool they were. And I've never been into like the whole medieval kind of stuff. I mean, especially with like the knights and the ogres and stuff like that. And then I did like the idea of the Four Horsemen just in general, like as a villain kind of thing. But then this Illythia Wave came around, and I just think I wanted something outside of the superhero realm of figures. And Moose, I automatically I was like, okay, this one's mine. Like, I'm gonna get that one for sure. And I got Illythia's horse and Illythia to start, and those were the three I had prepaid over at Stevens Collectibles here in San Antonio. And then I go to pick those up, and I immediately buy, I don't remember the big brute vampire, and then Krotos and Centaur. I was like, I'm taking these for sure. Like I put them on the counter. I go, these ones are mine. Besides whatever else I'm buying and stuff. And it's just a really cool wave out, just kind of outside of everything else. DC, Marvel, Turtles, NECA with like their monsters and their TMNT and just kind of other lines in general that you get flooded with Power Rangers. So for some collectors, I could see where this might be like kind of a heavy buy. I mean, with when I got all the way out of this particular line with what I wanted to buy, I definitely paid closer to like statue Hot Toys prices, but it was completely worth it. You're on mute.
Do you mean for like all of them all together?
Yeah, like once I
Statue
paid
price?
for everything, like once I paid
Oh,
because
sure.
it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 figures.
Yeah.
So, but just as a 1/12 collector officially, if I haven't said it, uh, I mean, definitely great figures. I mean, the moose just in general is super impressive. It's just super impressive. Like it's really close. Minor nitpicks for me, just being brand new into the line, but I mean, I'm optimistic about getting the Cosmic Legions, which will be out mid next year ish.
Yep.
So
Well, actually, I think the first wave should be coming very soon. Like probably Q1 of next year is what it should be.
yeah, and I'm just really excited. I'm more of a cosmic person myself, so to see these alien-esque figures coming out, like I'm really excited about that. So, but then you got some of these other waves coming out for Mythic Legions that are dropping the next Horseman. So it's hard because I'm trying to round out my Marvel Legends that I want to kind of like call it for, and then there's some SHs out there that I want, and some other stuff I'm trying to get into. So
I feel like they keep oops. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear
Almost
you.
okay. I thought I muted myself with his antlers there. Um yeah, I feel like the Mythic Legions does a good job of keep sucking you back in with different comic variations of figures you like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
I think it's an awesome brand line that everyone, in my opinion, even if you're not big into medieval like neither one of us are,
Hmm.
I think everyone should at least have one of their figures just to, you know, see what is out there.
It's just
I think,
different.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think they're fantastic. The value is there. There's not much you got to lose on them. Um, they're they're great. If you're into medieval at all, I think it's something you need to get. It's and they can get fairly rare.
Hmm.
They are for collectors. It is a brand for collectors. You don't see it as something for kids for the most part because it's not something you're going to see in a lot of stores. For they have their list of retailers on their website, and it's pretty small overall. When you kind of look at it, Big Bad obviously kind of being their main distributor there or reseller. But yeah, it's a I think overall great brand. Everyone should try at least one. Balius, their horse, is a great figure for any line in the 12 scale. Um, and this guy, Alder, kind of continues that, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, for accessories, Sean, if you wanted to kind of get into that, it's pretty
Yeah.
slim on him.
So I'm gonna single screen it for a sec. For accessories, all you really get are the horns,
Yeah,
the antlers. You only get his antlers. I mean, other than that, he gets all this cool stuff already attached to him. So I wouldn't count that as an accessory. But these horns are massive, man. I mean, just the art to them, just the way that they kind of sit on his head are really nice. it's not very like what's the word I'm looking for, like fierce or like even like battle ready. It's just more kind of like grand,
Hmm.
you know. So I mean, these are these are really nice.
Yeah, they're enormous. Very big, obviously, a little bit embellished in my opinion from
Hmm.
any of the moose I've seen. I know their horns obviously can get very baskety, or antlers, I should say, very baskety, very large like that. We actually, back where I grew up at, we actually have a few moose running around our land there, and I've seen them in person, and they are stunningly large. I know, like, obviously everyone knows how large moose are,
Hmm.
but they are enormous. So I think compared to the horse, it may be, in my opinion, a little undersized. I think some of them, I guess some of them are about the size of. I guess that might be close to the size of horses. I'm under the understanding there are some reused parts. I'm really bad at like picking up on that or not. I'm kind of just seeing it for what it is for the most part. But yeah, I think it's overall very good. Like I said, I think the horns from a realistic perspective are a little bit embellished, but I don't mind that. I kind of, it goes with the line, right? In my like, it's kind of what the line
Hmm.
is for the most part. Just it's
It
on
it
par for the
definitely
course there.
feels mythical, you know, not to use their name or whatever, but like the just how big the horns are,
Sure.
they it feels mythical.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know we both have Illythia as well. We should
Hmm.
we should eventually do her, and we could do the ogre scaled one or the
Hmm.
centaur, but these are two of some of the more um,
Sought
universally
after.
liked figures from here. So
Hmm.
I wanted to kind of start with these ones. We'll see if you guys like it. If you guys like it, let us know, and we'll definitely provide more Mythic Legions here or uh, showcases by Four Horsemen. But moving on to the paint. Um, the paint, in my opinion, on this is fantastic. It's where Four Horsemen will always kind of blow me away for what you get with it. It's very good coloring. Overall, there's like the shadowing in the muscles, different parts of the body. The horns look fairly weathered. The lines are drawn in pretty good in mine. One of the horns is better than the other. One thing, if I had to maybe have a little mini nitpick, is there's some seams that here, and it's pretty small in one of the antlers where you can see it kind of got put together, but the other one I don't see that at all. So I don't know if it's just different piece altogether rather than being mirrored.
Is it
Um, I
more
I think it is.
is it more horizontal than it is vertical, the seam?
It goes like this, like straight
Yeah,
across.
yeah, no, I see the same seam.
Okay.
And you're right, I
Yeah,
don't see it on the other.
and there is some chipping on mine. There's a little bit of white specks. Um, I don't think you can see it in the camera here, but a little bit here. I'm guessing it's just from rub, on other parts of the antlers. Yeah, they're just. It's very hard to describe how large these things are overall. Like a 12 scale figure could easily just like ride in them. It's nuts.
It'd be
Um,
cool to see that new Santa Claus figure, the figure obscura sit on this
oh yeah,
guy.
yep.
That
I
would be a
actually,
great addition, you know?
yeah, I yeah, he would be a cool one to put on there. I actually really thought that we were going to see a reindeer for it this year, and now we might actually get a reindeer someday for that Santa Claus. I would bet.
That would be
Um,
pretty cool.
yeah, but this guy, his coloring on his kind of his saddle and everything is pretty good. We have red. It's kind of a maroon reddish, and then green. with some like yellow accents on like the sleeping mat slash bag, whatever's that is there. The gold is pretty nice for the most part. His eyes are some of the scariest things, where how realistic they look. They're very glossy, very well done in my opinion. Um, the inside of the ears are painted a different color. Overall, it looks very well done as far as paint. I'm almost always happy with it with Mythic Legions for the most part. I really do like the way they do it. They do it's kind of one of their, I don't know if I want to say their specialties, because they're also known for um, their sculpting, but it's well done in my opinion. What do you think of the paint?
I mean, I think it looks amazing. I think it looks like a moose, like the fur you'd see on a moose. So, and then the horns, I think they look. I think I agree with you. Where one looked fairly weathered, maybe on one side and not as much on the other. But I really like the the saddle. I like the saddle. I like the I guess the cloth that's supposed to be underneath it. It's not cloth, but like a blanket that's supposed to be underneath it, and the little maybe a rolled up blanket on the back here and stuff. It almost makes me think that there's supposed to be another figure that goes with this that's supposed to be riding him. He's not wild, right? He has a saddle. He has all this kind of stuff. So, um, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's just great. The paint on that, and there's a little,
and I would point out, yeah, he's considered part of the good guys, I believe.
yeah.
So yeah, just to let everyone there know if they care, but yeah, he is considered a good guy within Mythic Legion's lore. Um, the there's no bio on his box uh about him, I guess. I know a lot of them have that. That would maybe be the only thing, going back to the box, that I would maybe add. Uh yeah, I would say that's probably the only thing. Um so yeah, he's part of Zylona's flock, which is kind of the forest people for the most part. Like they have like a lot of elves, like um, green themed, forest themed kind of people. On their website, there's no bio either. It says coming, so I'm not. We'll find out what it says there, but yeah, it just says we'll see, I guess, who he's linked to more so in that way. Most likely from his bio that's coming that we don't have yet, and that's probably why it's not on the box either. But
So with Four Horsemen and what they have now, is it fairly like regioned? I guess like with each wave, like if you're looking at a map, it'd be like, okay, this is this wave and this is that wave, or like how does it fit into the lore?
what do you mean on like mapped out?
Like, let's see.
So on their
It's not on
website
this
there
one.
is a map of Mythos, which is
Yes, I've
their,
I've seen that.
yeah, it's like their um made up world,
Hmm.
I guess. In Zylona's flock, I'm not exactly sure where they reside there. I'm not deep enough into the lore to really know that. Um, but I could probably eventually find it. Let me see here. Assembly fighters, Xylone's flocks' assembly fighters gain their power from and help protect the elements of nature to give life to people of Mythos. Flock opposes counteracts of the vampiric elements in Illythia's brood, which seeks to drain life out of the world around them. Their close ties to nature and purity of the flock keeps them connected to the great beasts and beings of the whole world, granting them a certain reverence and a measure of celebrity in the modern age. Yeah, I don't really know exactly where they reside in the actual map there, but yeah, they got a pretty good kind of gr- uh, group built out, I guess. Um, but yeah, it's overall I really like him. He, I think you mentioned, you had mentioned like figures that go with him. He came out
Mm-hmm.
with like, what was it, Artemis, the Lord Bardrick, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And then the one you have as well, Krotos, which a lot of people
Kratos.
like Krotos. Yeah, and I think Krotos is the one who might be built to ride him, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't know that for sure actually, but yeah, it's like we said, pretty short on a lot of things, but going on to sculpt here,
Mm-hmm.
um, very good overall. They do a good job of kind of replicating the fine fur around him. It might be a little bit too fine, like horse-like, in my opinion. Um, but for the most part, it's very good. The one area I'm not a huge fan of is the back end. It just kind of looks. I'm just gonna show off some moose butt here, but yeah, if you the legs come in, they kind of like they can swivel in and out, but there's a pretty large gap around there. Around one funny thing is the tail moves, but yeah, it's pretty large gap, kind of messy in my opinion. I guess butts are messy, but that's the way. That's pretty on par, but I mean, figure wise, it's not great. Um, for the saddle and sorry, I don't know my horses, but the neck piece here, I don't know what that's called. Very well done in my opinion. That's some of the most detailed work that you'll find on the figure overall. The fur on the face is so good in my opinion. Very well done around there, and then kind of his beard is pretty, pretty well done as well overall, along with his like kind of neck mane area. Sorry, I don't know the correct biological terms for a lot of these with him, but yeah, really good stuff there. What do you think of the sculpt?
I'm actually really impressed with the musculature, like in the legs. You could see
Mm-hmm.
the striations of the muscles kind of coming through. So that's kind of that's really cool. The other thing is just like the details in like the saddle and like the I guess the neck piece, like you could see there up here.
Yep.
Just all the designs there. Even in the little green piece blanket, I call it. And then just the rest of the saddle has a lot of little designs and stuff like that. I agree with like the little mane. You can see all the little pieces there, and then the beard, and then like you said at the beginning, the eyes.
Yeah.
The
Eyes are
eyes
pretty
look
well done.
really good. I think if there was a nitpick that I'd have to pick, would be like in just more more weathering, I guess, on the
Antlers.
antlers. Just I feel like if you got antlers this big, you've been alive for a really long time, so just some more weathering up in here with how those kind of grew out. But
Yeah.
the ears look really good too. You could kind of see the inside of the ears.
Yep.
And then
Yes.
this
So
is
I
more
was
of an
gonna say,
articulation thing, but I just wish the mouth would have opened
oh
a little
yeah,
bit. But
I didn't even think about that.
the
Um,
hoofs look really good too.
I was gonna ask you with yours on one of my antlers. It's very well weathered and, like I said,
Hmm.
like painted and
Is it the
everything like
left
that.
one?
Yes, and then the
Hmm.
other one is a little bit more bare
Yes.
with the details. Okay, yeah, it just seems like one got more love than the other.
I think you get like this darker wash on the outside of the left antler, kind of more like upper mid antler. You get this darker color in it, whereas the other one just kind of seems more almost fleshy. It almost looks more fleshy.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. So I'm actually going to take my antlers off because I did want to talk about how they come off, number one, and number two, this is how they come, kind of packaged up like that. So let's move on to articulation.
Hmm.
It is very well done as far as articulation is concerned. They do a great job, in my opinion, of pretty much being able to articulate anything you wanted. I would have liked him to be able to turn more than this. This is about him turned to the max. Um, but, and you can kind of see how stretched over he is. It's not bad. It's pretty good. As far as the head, it goes up a ways like this, but the antlers just get in the way of so much. But that's a pretty good range he goes up. The head is separate from the neck, as you can see there. And then the legs have a crazy amount of articulation. Each leg has 1, 2, 3 points that are pretty much ball joints. They have kind of the very, I guess, um, stiff joints of bending. The back legs move forward at the elbow, kind of. Um, and then the down by the hooves, there's another one there. That will move. And then you can rotate all of them, so you can, mess with the legs almost all the way around. I guess you probably could if you wanted to. And then the back legs, you can see kind of the front legs are pretty on some solid kind of ratchet joints there. One of my ratchet joints in the front is better than the other. In the back, they kind of have some bigger ratchet joints that you can kind of hear there. But yeah, they can go all the way back there. Pretty solid overall. It's not. I'm not worried about him getting loose, or anything like that. In my opinion, I'm not too worried about that with this figure. What's your
So I have a
sense of the
question.
articulation?
I'm nervous because my joints, at least on like the knee, the ankle, seem very stiff.
Oh, heat them up for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah,
should throw
and
that
it
in.
even tells you that in the instructions.
Yeah,
Like so. I'm completely okay with at least this figure just kind of leaving them as is. I just kind of messed with them a little bit with just kind of the points that you were talking about, but just being so inexperienced with these figures in general, like I'm very nervous to move them around.
yeah. He's very yeah, this all the joints, like I said, are very stiff. So when you want to really start messing with them, I would definitely warm them up. I didn't with mine. I probably should have. But yeah, you that's gonna be something you want to do. With I just kind of consider that pretty much as something you should do with almost all your figures. Like I said, articulation. Don't forget the tail will move back and forth. The little stubby tail, which is
That's
kind of
funny.
funny. But yeah, and then so he also has his reins here. This is obviously, whoever you have riding him, what they would hold on to. For the saddle, where they put the feet there, all kind of a soft plastic ish. Um, yeah, bunch of loops, a lot of cool things that you could store on this guy however depending on who you're putting with them. Um, but yeah, it's a really good articulation. Like I said, their horses are very well received, and this guy is right up there. You can pretty much do anything they can, except for the limitations from the antlers, as like we said, they're very big and bulky and heavy. I expected them to kind of be like a hollowed out plastic. They're full out, like an actual full piece of plastic. There's a lot there to him. But yeah, I really like this guy overall. My overall feeling slash value of the figure is what he retailed with is insane value. He's probably more worth, anywhere from the $80, $70 to $80 range a little bit. That's kind of pushing it, but he's very close to that as far as what he's worth for how much figure you get with him, for how large he is. I do, yeah, I would say, anywhere from that $60 to $70 range, he's great value. Anything up than that, more than that, you start to look at about what he's value. Whereas like now I've seen him in the $100, yeah, about $100+ on that. I don't know if I would do. I don't like you. May very well feel a little bit cheated out of your money there, but that's collecting. That's especially.
But you
Mythic
also don't
Legions.
get a figure that looks like this, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I agree. I wouldn't want to spend $100 for this, but he's very impressive. You know, just to have something out of the ordinary, a moose at that. You know,
right.
I think he's definitely very different, and I think he's very unique to our collecting world of 112s. You know, where you get several humanoid styled figures and superheroes and other things like that.
Yep. And I talk about it a lot, how much I love diverse collections. And this guy will make any collection very diverse. Obviously, like you said, there's not going to be a whole lot of people with a moose in their collection, and he provides a lot for that. So I
Yeah.
think it's awesome. I think he's an awesome figure. I would get him. I would get him again. I wish I would have gotten him for the retail. I just wasn't on board with Mythic Legions at the time, and honestly, his pre-order sold out everywhere. That's what was crazy. They sold out fairly early, and they were hard to get. And it got harder as he came in stock in places. So yeah, it's a great figure. I would recommend him to anyone that kind of wants something different to mess around on. Most 12 scale figures will be able to ride him just fine as long as they can do, about that as far as the splits. If they have any sort of decent splits articulation, they'll be able to ride him pretty well. So, dislikes, I would say some of the joints aren't as good as maybe the other side. Like I said, on my front kind of shoulder articulated legs, one is way more than the other. Um, the back end, I don't like how that looks, but I don't know how I would change that or fix that. Another minor thing, and this is just kind of an OCD thing, is for me, his antlers don't fully align evenly. It's not that the points don't align evenly. That's actually, like, I think fairly rare if they're like perfect there. Obviously, that's how you do like scoring on antlers, like for deer and stuff like that. On how what's the word I'm thinking of? Parallel? No, that's not right. But how similar they are to the other side. This one is not. I'm blanking on the word. I can't believe that. This one, it's hard to explain. So the reason I took them off, because I thought maybe you'd be able to see it better. But they're a little off in that one. So this is them like lined up, and one sticks up farther, like vertically than the other set, and it drives me nuts because there's notches. If you look in there, there's like a,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a, I think it's a pentagram. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's more than that. It might be a hexagram or something. Where there's certain ways that he fits in the holes. I expected him the the antlers to just go in the holes, and then you just turn them however you want. But that's not the case. They're pretty set in how they are. And I'm guessing it's because of the weight of them. Also very hard to get in there. Heat them up. It's kind of a pain. I put them on and tried taking them off before this video. Just to be safe, I would heat them off before you do anything like that. Don't take advice for how I did it. Do as I say, not as I do. But overall, great figure. Love him. I would buy him over again, and I would love to have another, to be honest. He's just very hard to find for reasonable prices. Sean, what do you think on overall with your thoughts?
I think overall he's amazing. I really like him. In my collection, he's definitely diverse. He's different than anything that I've ever collected before. So I really like that. Articulation wise, I have not heated it up, but I'm not crazy impressed, I guess. I mean, even, and we'll talk about it on some of the other figures, I guess, but they're just, there's a lot of single joints that I don't like, but I think overall he's amazing. Like, if you can get him, you should get him. I think the biggest gripe would be the antlers, just kind of way they sit. I know mine, if you don't get it in the right notch, like you were saying, they kind of hang down either backwards or forwards, however you kind of port them.
Yeah.
But it really makes me hopeful for the rest of the line. It makes me hopeful for the ones that come after him, you know, in different lines. I'm definitely going to buy more Mythic Legions, and like I said before, Cosmic Legions. So this is cool. Like, it's a fresh change for me.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an awesome figure overall. Like I said, yeah, I've said it a bunch already, but he'll add a lot of diversity to your collection. If you have anything medieval, he will go well with them. All right, so moving on to Valak here. We'll kind of run through him. Valak, now, I don't know if I am pronouncing it right. Valak. He is part of Illythia's brood, part of the vampires. It says for his bio on the box here, it talks about that. So this is what the box looks like. And the back is the artwork, and then the figures that come with it here. They slide in and out in these notches here in the back. I love that about Mythic Legions, is you can pretty much reseal them all. So it says about him, just so everyone knows who we're talking about. Stealthy, nimble, and cunning, Valak, the tracker of the white spine, is often an early omen of impending doom. The first to scout out enemy territory, Valak relies on his falcon Cinder to serve as an additional set of eyes and ears in the wild. With the return of Illythia, it's Valak's mission to infiltrate the kingdom of Zelonia and carve a clear path to the castle Silverhorn in hopes it will lead to its eventual conquest. So, he is menacing. Overall, very cool figure. He comes with a lot. I know, Sean, that was kind of the first thing you had said about him when I told you that it's one that you should try and get. So the first thing is Cinder, his hawk. You have him set up like that. Awesome. Okay, I don't have that, so that's very good. It's like a arm piece that he has that goes through a wrist, right? And you take off his other gauntlet and you replace it with this, right?
Yeah, it's like a gauntlet that he just kind of sits on.
Yeah, and he can just sit on his arm like what you have there. Very cool. He actually has some head articulation. I don't know if you were aware of that, but you can spin his head around.
Oh, I see it though.
There. He's got like his leather straps hanging down, his wings out. Very cool overall. But yeah, so it's kind of like a figure and a quarter is what you get with him, but very, very cool. I got him because I really like the vampires. They're actually, when these went up for pre-order, what got me into Mythic Legions, because I was like you, I was into Cosmic Legions already. That's kind of what got me into them looking at Mythic Legions in the first place was Cosmic Legions. Um the vampires I thought were a cool twist on it. I get attracted to bad guys for whatever reason. For collecting, and this guy, the Illythia's Brood, really kind of made me dive down that rabbit hole. I actually like Bolin Voligar. The second version of him has been my favorite, I think, out of this wave.
Which one is that? Is that the other, the one with the wings?
Nope. He is the one that comes with like the fur coat kind of thing, fur cloak.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
I really
Yeah.
like him, but this guy I can definitely see why a lot of people would say he's a better figure. But yeah, I got him just because I like the vampires. I wanted to collect a lot of Illythia that I could from the Illythia faction. What is it called? Illythia's Brood. A legion fueled by constant hunger, elegant and expertly trained. These eaters of flesh are almost exclusively made up of those who gain their power by draining the life of others. They're fairly small, to be honest. Vorgus Vermilius was one I got very early. Shout out to Bill at Dorklair. He helped me secure my first one there. Um, Other than that, I am missing, I believe it's Carpathius, or is it Lucretia? Lucretia? Um, the rest I all have. I have the first version of Baron Voligar, where he's like in his knight armor. I have Decibalus, Phobos, the horse, Lithia, Valak, the vampire knights. I think I have both of them, and then Varg, the one with wings, and then Vorgus Vermilius. But yeah, they're fairly small compared to a lot of factions out there, so I'm excited to see how they grow this one overall. Their armor is kind of purple and black, for the most part. For the most part, there's a few exceptions within the Brood, the faction, but for the most part, they're like this, and I really like the black. It's like a glossy, kind of classy black. But that's how pretty much all of them are. And so yeah, that's why I ended up going with this guy and buying him. What about you, Sean?
I like the lore behind him. You know, just kind of being the hunter, the scouter, like getting out there and kind of like, you know, like just kind of searching things out and stuff. So, and the fact that he had the Falcon was like really cool. I kind of thought it was really Assassin's Creed like, where
Yeah.
you know, you send the eagle out and you kind of scout out everything. So that was cool. And then the vampire, like you said, is definitely different. You know, it's not like the skulls or the skeletons that you get in some of the waves and some of the other ogres and stuff like that. Like these are like dark demonic kind of figures with the way they're designed. Um, Comes with so much, and he's just so detailed. Like just the dots on his armor there, and uh, we could talk about it later. But I do have some gripes with that neck cloak piece that he has. How it's some hard plastic and it's hard to
Yeah,
maneuver sometimes.
we'll get into that.
Yeah, but I think he's my favorite. I think even over Illythia. I think he's my favorite of the vampires for sure.
Yeah, yeah. He's I think a lot of people's favorites overall. Um, I okay. So let's move on to the accessories. That's what he is like most loaded in. Let's see here. Do you have the obviously Cinder the Hawk he comes with.
Mm-hmm.
He comes with his two shoulder pauldrons that like uh peg in the back here, and his cloak slash I think technically it's a cape because there's he's like double hooded up. I don't really get it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so the cloak he comes with, and then you could count this like hood area that you were talking about as like an accessory. He comes with just like a standard sword in its sheath, all plastic. Fits in there well. And then this is the highlight of him, in my opinion, the bow.
The
It is
bow
like a
is
glossy black.
so nice.
So cool. And he comes with his quiver of arrows, which are well done. I like, instead of just filling them in with black, they're indented, so they look a little bit textured. You can't really tell in the video, but they look really good. Now, he also comes with a single arrow. God, you can't even see it. What's really cool about the bow is it's got little notches in it that the arrow fits into and will just sit there.
I did not know that. Like, I saw the single arrow, and we could talk about this in like the gripes part, but I didn't like how it couldn't sit in the quiver.
Yeah, there's on both sides, so you can make him whatever handed he is. There's little notches. You could put one in whatever side you want. So very cool. I would have maybe had liked him to come with an extra arrow, because this thing will be so hard to, or will be so easy to lose, because of obviously how small it is. But yeah, I also it's just kind of part of the game. But when you put him in there, that area, it fits so tight that it kind of scratches up the silver, the paint a little bit. So be careful with that. You can maybe rest it on top if you wanted to, if you're gonna have him holding on to it. But it's an actual like threaded string here. It's kind of bendy. I wouldn't pull on it too hard, maybe because of the chance of it coming off here, also with stretching it out. So I wouldn't go super far with it. But this thing is a highlight. His bow, also very large. It's like damn near as tall as him. If you stand him up to it, you can see here. So this is like even. It damn near is as tall as him. So super cool longbow there. Sean, any comments on the accessories?
Yeah, I have a few. They're more. It's more of a gripe, I guess. The biggest accessory I find is the falcon. I don't like how it's a separate gauntlet that he just sits on. I don't like that at all. I find him a little bit loose and hard to pose. I don't know yet if it's more of just how I kind of have him sitting on the arm, and maybe I'm just not catching something the right way. But if I lean him the right way, then it sits fine. But it might look a little awkward because even like the wing right here is over his hood, so it's like he's getting hit in the head with the wing as it might come down if he's landing, like if he's has his arm out to catch him.
Sure.
And then the other thing is just with the sword, how long it is, and if you want to add him in there, I mean, it's like you were saying with the bow, it's almost half the size of his body. I almost wish it would have been more like a dagger or like a mid-sized sword, not so long, especially since he has the bow. You know,
see.
I feel like he's more of a long distance fighter as opposed to a hand-to-hand fighter where you would need something this long. You know?
Sure.
So just being more stealthy would have been better than having something like the size of that sword. So maybe like a dagger or like I don't know what they're called, but something half the size of this would have looked much better if you're trying to pair up all the accessories on there.
Yeah.
But I really like how the quiver sits, and then one of my favorite things, I guess, is the cape.
Sure.
It was one of the hardest things to apply. Sorry, my video's messing up a little bit. It was one of the hardest things for me to apply just because of the different ports that it has. But once you actually get it in there, it looks really nice, and you can see how it
Agreed.
fits just under the armor there.
Yep. And that, so just so everyone, so yeah, the cloak, it has like 4 holes, and you fold it
Mm.
up and then put it within the pauldron that pegs in it. You put it on the peg and then peg it in, and that's how it stays on. It's kind of standard for Mythic Legions for the most part. But the capes and soft goods on Mythic Legions have gotten much better over the years as they've outsourced their soft goods, made them even better. Yes, price has gone up, but I would rather them have. You guys know me, obviously, with Mezco being one of my favorites. I really like soft goods, always have. So I like that investment that they've done. Um, did make me think of something for an accessory outside of like an extra arrow. Of what I wish would have came with is the ability to remove the hood. Like I said, I'm a little confused by the neck shoulder piece, if it's supposed to be like a hood drawn down, but he's always has to be in his hood. So yeah, a little confusing there. I would have liked a hood maybe to have a separate piece that you could put on and take off. Okay, so Sean, since I started with accessories, do you want to start with paint?
Yeah, the paint's amazing. It looks really great. The black on it is, it's a little matte, a little shiny, and then it has a little, I guess like a, I don't know, what would you call the dots? Just like a little added plus to it. But you
Yeah,
can see like
yeah.
the brownish red buttons and straps right there on the chest. The purple contrasts very well with his white face and just kind of some of the other pinkish tones to him. The white is definitely a flat whitish gray, I guess,
Like
for a vampire.
what's on his face, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see it like right there under his eyes, the pink, how it kind of goes out, kind of goes through the face, the nose, the mouth,
Yep.
and then just the color of the eyes. I mean, it looks shiny. You know, it's not, but it just kind of has this shiny look to it. I think I'm more impressed though with the Falcon, just the browns in it and the different colors of the feathers there. You got some dark feathers, you got some light feathers there and stuff that looks
Mm-hmm.
really nice. The shimmer on the bow is amazing. Looks
Very
menacing.
glossy. Yeah.
Looks like it is a formidable weapon to use. And then going down a little bit lower on the legs, just the grays, the charcoal grays, the dark grays that they use on the knee pads is really nice.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you talked about the cape. The purple on the cape is perfect.
Yep.
It fits with the entire figure. And then paint on the sword. Let's see if I can't really draw it that much, but you kind of see it there. A nice solid silverish gunmetal, almost gray,
Metallic,
silver,
yeah.
metallic gray, silver on the sword with the red on the handle there. Beautiful figure color wise. It fits with the vampire character, I guess,
Yeah.
very well.
So I have the Black Knight that they released, and I love that one. How it's like glossy black, and this guy has pieces of that, like you mentioned, the
Yeah.
shoulder pauldrons, the gauntlets, gloves, and then his boots down below, very
Mm-hmm.
glossy, along with his bow. Really like that. And then you have the kind of change, like there's some silver accents in there, or like dark gunmetal on his knee armor.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't see, I guess, in the pictures. It just kind of looks shiny, but this isn't fully black. The browns are done very well. I wish it would have matched maybe the buckles in his chest here a little bit better because it's a little bit darker here than it is on his belt. But overall, very well done. I really like the blacks. His cape matches for being different material, obviously, like with his hood and everything. That's like hard goods, obviously, or like hard plastic, soft plastic maybe. Whereas the soft goods different, but they match that very similar. Like you can tell they probably tried to make sure it would, and in my opinion, it does. So very well done in my opinion. I think they do a great job. Excuse me. With that, I like the accents of all of his armor. You can tell he's kind of a figure they put in a little bit more work in, and I think the biggest reason is because they reused him for the uh, headless horseman. They used a lot of what this guy is for that figure, so I think that has a lot to do with why they were able to give him so much detail. But you can see he's got like buckles on his gauntlets and his shoulders there, all over. He looks very good. I really am impressed with this figure overall, and the paint doesn't disappoint. Paint is definitely part of that. Same with Cinder the Hawk. The only area is in the back. It looks a little lame in my opinion. You can't really notice there, but almost too matte, like furry kind of. Like it reminds me of kind of how they would have painted Alder, but he is different colors. He starts off darker in the top of the wings and then gets lighter brown at the bottom here. So the front is obviously done very well. This, like you said, I think this is painted amazingly. Done very well. His gauntlet that he sits on obviously matches his armor. All of that is very well done. His quiver, I will say, is a little funky. How it's matte black, or no, it's not even black. What the heck? I didn't even notice that it's not black. It's like a really dark brown, is what it is. Very dark brown, and then it has blue accents, like teal blue kind of accents, which I don't fully understand. I might be missing something there as far as that's concerned. I guess it does. He does have blue, kind of that accent color in a couple of the metal pieces of his like his pauldrons there. Um, his face, like you said, it's matte. It's done well. How he has like pink in his nostrils area, around his eyes, and the rest of it being kind of the matte white. Very ugly, very on
Hmm.
par, I think, for what he is. Well done overall. The
But
paint is
also kind
amazing.
of has some kind of grandeur to him. He's not just like a brute. He's not
Yep.
just a henchman. You could tell he's very renowned
Mm-hmm.
in I guess the lore. I feel like because of the type of armor it has, it's I don't know if subtle's the word, but I get an Assassin's Creed kind of vibe from the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think yeah, he looks cunning. Um,
Yes, cunning is a good word.
so let's move on to the sculpt. Can't say enough about how great it is. I think a lot of it is, from what I've heard, fairly new with him. Um, I think one of the more underrated pieces of the sculpting that is amazing that I love personally is the leg, like replicated to be, I don't know what, like it's under his armor, his pants, how it's replicated. It's trying to replicate like being soft goods, and it's like super kind of um crinkled a little bit, and it's got a cool material look to it, like you can't see it really in the pictures, but it's the what it is very well done. I really like it. His actual armor is very flexible. You can, it's separates in four different areas around, so you can definitely articulate him in any different way. He's got like his articulated elbows, but can't, he can do 90. Won't be able to do anything crazy there. And then with his pauldrons, you can move them if you take his neck piece thing off here that we've kind of complained about a few times, you can do some other things with them. That pauldron I can't. Struggling to get to stay in, but you can swing them around, up, down, however you want there, up until they hit the hood. And yeah, you can kind of see here since the pauldron came out. There's two of the holes. You just fold them up, and then they peg in there like that. But yeah, overall, I think the sculpting is amazing. It's great. His bodysuit underneath, I think, is the best part of the sculpting. But his face is very well sculpted. The closer you look, the more little things you notice, like bumps around his eyes, super kind of squared off jaw. Um, I love around his eyes how he has black accents. You can really see the eyes within it. Very well done there. I don't see any bleeding within like his little pouches on his belt to his belt buckle. So very clean there. Overall, I think he's cleaner than Alder and one of the more cleanly painted figures I've ever had overall. I don't know if it's the way he was assembled and manufactured, as far as how they're able to keep a lot of the colors from each other. Um, but overall, it's very well done. What do you have to say about the paint?
I mean, again, I like the eagle, at least the front side of him. Like you said, how let's see, there we go. How he has just the different lines in there. I think the eagle is probably my favorite accessory of everything of the whole thing. The black eyes with the whitish tone or silverish tone that it lets off in the light, and the pink in the face, the purple that again matches the cape very well. The gloss on the bow, and then on the rest of the like the armor on like the gauntlets, so it matches very well there. The purplish blue fins on the arrows are really nice. You see the striations in there.
Yep.
So you could tell that it's not just like one piece. They're each individual. And then in the armor, the flat on the armor. Sorry, there we go.
Like on the chest area.
Yeah, on the chest. It just, again, he looks very subtle. He doesn't look like he's like a huge warrior. He could fight if he needs to, but the buckle is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah. You get the little indentions there and the little bumps in that, like it was forged. So that's a real nice touch. The gauntlets on the knees. I guess that's or the knee pads. I like how they're a different color than the actual boots.
Yep.
And then you just get that same gloss, that same black gloss on the boots.
Yeah. The sculpting of those legs, I don't know if that is new, but yeah, that it's all well done in my opinion. Well constructed figure overall. You can do a lot with him. He can ride Alder. I had him on there here. I can show you. That's how he looks on Alder. Obviously, he would be fighting against him, so that would never happen. But yeah, he well done there. Moving on to articulation, and this is probably going to be my biggest knock. I know a lot of Mythic Legions, you can't do a ton with his knee. You can go up until it hits each other like that. That's as far as his knees will go. He can do the splits like what I had mentioned. He can do the splits almost both ways. So that's really cool. He can do like probably some cool running ones there. His shoulders aren't super articulated, especially with the pauldrons in. They affect that quite a bit. One of my pauldron holes had a tough time with it, but so his chest is on like a ball joint, his top torso, and mine is very loose. You can kind of see there. Is yours like that, Sean? You're on mute. But yeah, I don't not
Yeah, he is. It's more of a lower waist joint almost. Like I mean, it sits just above his belt.
yeah, and I don't know how much of that is because of like how his bottom area sits. But yeah, wobbly, I don't like that. But at the same time, if I want him to stay, he'll stay. Like he will.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not like something I can't work with. So that doesn't bother me a ton, but it does bother me. Obviously his head can't do a ton with the hood. So he does have a lot of pieces that hold up his articulation with the actual armor. Um, so that's kind of a bummer. But at the same time, I will be one to, for the most part, with these types of figures, especially like knights and stuff like that, try and take as much of the articulation as I can, and really like the really go for the looks more so. Obviously, like I've mentioned before with Spider-Man figures, I don't think that's the case. You should always be going for. I think those need to be articulated. So to me, that's always like a subjective. Do you like articulation or do you like looks? I think that's a case by case basis for me, and this is one I'm fine with it being the way it is to look as good as it does. Um, One thing I was gonna ask is I haven't gotten the bow in his hand yet, or I haven't tried. Sean, was that
hmm
fairly easy to do? I know with this sword I had that in, and that fit in there fine.
yeah. It was fairly easy to do. For me, it was more just like imagining how you would hold the bow, and I guess in this case, I just kind of have him holding it as opposed to being battle ready.
Yeah,
You know, uh, but I was kind of nervous about the string and making sure I don't mess that up because it
yeah,
is. I mean, it's tight. Like
feels like a
you,
true bow.
yeah, you get some vibration in there. I mean, for what it is, it's it's really good. So um, I just feel like articulation wise, you don't need him to do much. At least for me, like the
Yeah,
story for me in this is that he's scout like his lore says he's scouting. He's ready to report back, and he has a weapon when he needs it.
yep, I agree. Okay, so moving on to overall feeling slash value of the figure, your likes, dislikes, future of the line, maybe like future of the vampires for you, Sean, specifically. What do you think overall with this figure?
Overall, on the figure, I don't like how the hawk is on its own little gauntlet. Like you kind of saw me messing with it
Mm-hmm.
here and there, how it just kind of falls back like that. So it's really leaning forward. I don't like how it looks like it's almost hitting his head. And then I think the biggest thing for me, and it's a combination of it, but it's this front guard right
Mm-hmm.
here and how it works with the hood. Like, give us either a cloth hood where you could pull it back and pull it over. And I know sometimes that may not work very well, just how hoods go, but it just seems super fat on them. Like how high it sits compared to the actual hood that's on there. Um, Besides that, the frustration with with just getting the cape plugged in was kind of annoying, but I love the figure. It brings, like I said, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, and it just brings back a lot of memories of that. Uh, he's not a knight. He's not a one of the skeleton figures, but he has that knightish look on his on his clothing, which is really nice. And then just for how it's gonna be for the line, I mean, once I got him, I was like, okay, I need more.
Yeah.
I need more of this line. I need at least one more vampire to go with him, which I got the brood. The other one, I had him here. Um, is it Baron? Baron?
Baron Volgar.
Veligard? Yeah,
Yeah.
like he would probably be the next one I get if I was to finish out the vampires. Um, but I just really like the good guys, I guess if you will, like the kind of the Celtic look on them looks really great. Bardic looks really good. Uh, Artemis, right? Is that how you said it? Artemis looks really good. She'd probably be the next one I get out of this wave because Krotos was my favorite. I think aside from maybe the Moose just being kind of an off figure, but
Hmm.
Krotos was probably my definitely my favorite figure. Um, it makes me want to go back and get more. So when I would have missed out on the, let's see, the Proxys wave, I would have already missed out on that. So I'm gonna have to buy that secondhand.
Poxus one.
The Poxus, sorry, Poxus.
That's up for pre-order still.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I gotta
You
go to Store Horseman, right?
Nope. That's where it's sold out of. You can go there. You can go to any place that sells Mythic Legions and order your Poxus figures
But
right
you
now.
can't get
There's
it off of the main website, is what I'm saying.
right
Right.
Store Horseman. You can't get it.
Yeah, and then it has
Um,
the dragon. Yes. So like this, I'm actually pretty excited for this one. And then the Necronominus wave. I
yep.
mean, the kind of that rounds it out, right, with the horseman.
Yep.
So I mean, at the very least, I'm going to get the following horsemen. You know, so the Poxus and the Necrononymous horsemen, and
Yeah.
probably their horses. You know, and then a few others. So I mean, the
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 oh, sorry.
the
Go ahead.
hype is real.
Yeah.
The hype is real. Like you're gonna get this one, or you get the moose, and you're gonna want more.
Agreed. Yeah. Overall, I agree. I understand why this is a lot of people's favorite figure from the entire wave. Does a great job of showing off what they can do there at Four Horsemen. And yeah, it's a great figure to flex your muscles with. I think they do a great job with it. Um, like you, I would probably agree. It would have been awesome to have a folded wings, Cinder, but it's still cool to be kind of with the wings out as well. And I agree. The neck piece, kind of here, that's supposed to be like the addition of the cloak. I understand why it's there. It's supposed to be kind of the piece that you can kind of see here that rides into the
Hmm.
soft goods. But I don't know. It just almost looks too much like a hood on the back. And I would, if it was supposed to represent like a folded down hood, that would make a little more sense. But I don't think that's the purpose of it.
I
I just,
think
I'm not the biggest fan of that piece,
I
but
think the
it works
guys
well.
who do like custom soft goods can do it better. Like if you
Yeah,
got one of the
and
top guys to do it, they could do it better. Have the folds, have the I mean they're even in more modern like hoodies for us for men and stuff like how it kind of has that extra little like neck piece that kind of folds out a little bit. I think they would be able to pull it off if done correctly.
yep, yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of different avenues you can go for that. They're all over the place. So like we always say, Four Horsemen really embrace the customizers in their community. So there are plenty of options there as far as how you want to um, approach upgraded pieces, or customize, change some things out, maybe closer to kit bashing, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot of options there. A lot of people will sell 3D files for them. A lot of cool things you can do with it. So yeah, the sky's the limit on things you want to change with these. I really love that about them, obviously. And yeah, this is the like you said, I think the only one you need to go back and get is Arethiers for the Four Horsemen, Sean. Um, But yeah, I'm excited to have all four of them. Like you said, it's going to be really cool to have them all lined up by for each other. I think a lot of Mythic Legions fans that have been fans way longer than us have been looking forward to that for years and years now. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun to do, and there's going to be a cool kind of army you can build with a lot of these. And this is going to be a very fun um, figure, I think, to put behind Illythia here. So yeah, I'm all in on the line. Like I said, the vampires I love. I have all the vampires. I probably will go back and get some of the other wave pretty soon here. But overall, I'm so excited about it all. I think they're great figures. They're going to slowly probably start, and obviously small stuff, space savers. It's a good way to hoard them all, right? No, it's that's gonna always be a plus for me. As space is always one of the biggest things here, um, for me, and with the small stuff where I don't feel like I'm sacrificing a lot with these from going, maybe not diving into statues or slowing up on hot toys and 1/6 scale stuff. I don't feel like I'm missing much with these. I have seen a lot of people graduate to Mythic Legions after, um, they already collect high end items. It's not something I would say a lot of people dive into head first right away. I will say, probably like big Lord of the Rings fans do, blah, blah, blah. Those people probably have. Not speaking for everyone, I understand that. But I have heard a lot of cases where people start with Mezco or they've started with, Mofex Mythic Legions. And in a lot of cases, 6 scale hot toys and gone to these. So it just seems like, how a lot of people talk about graduating or moving to statues after a while from like hot toy or 1/6 scale collecting. I've seen a lot of people go the other way, and this is another small figure brand that does that for a lot of people. So
Well, and it's almost middle of the road. I mean, when you're paying what 85 to 120 between Mofex, Mezco, even sometimes some of these premium SH figure arts, you know, to buy a figure for $50 to $80 is is a refreshing change, to get a high quality product that's not a Marvel Legends, that's not a McFarlane, uh, Mattel, or just some, because I mean even like the WWE figures, and just stuff like that, to get
agreed.
something out of the ordinary, to just pay $20 to $30 less and get this guy, or get Moose, or get any of the other wave, is a really great deal.
I agree, 100%. I think they do a great job with value. Obviously, it's their own brand. They get to avoid paying licenses. That's always a good thing. But we've seen companies take advantage of that as well, and use it kind of as a cash cow to to other things. So, um, yeah.
Real quick,
Overall,
one last in general, just one
yeah.
last question. In general, what would you like to see more from them? For me, it would be an expansion on the story. I think about like Sideshow, how they have their own kind of line. I can't remember what they're called. It's slipping me, but they have like, what is it, the something dead, or whatever, and they've kind of expanded
Sort of.
that pretty well. Even Mezco, with like having the comics
Yep.
and stuff like that. I would like to see a little bit more closure on the storyline of these guys. And I know the big deal is kind of like, make your own story with them, but kind of push it one step further and see more of a storyline with these guys.
So I will say to that, Sean, go to Source Horseman, and you will find a lot there. Sourcehorseman.com. You can go under Mythic Legions. You start with Mythic Legions 101. It just kind of gives you the update, the factions, blah, blah, blah. You can break it down by waves they were released, by figures, and there's a backstory to every faction and character for the most part. and they do a good job of summarizing the universe. I will say a lot of the lore that I have read is leading up to this ultimate war between, the good and
Right.
evil, essentially the good and the four horsemen, that are essentially like impending apocalyptic doom for everyone.
Hmm.
So
I
I
hate
would
to say it, it does have a very in-game vibe to it.
Yeah, it's I would yeah, it's like a more so from what I've read is a lot of the lore is leading up to that point. It's not during it. So I like that. I think that's really well done. I would disagree, and I would say I think they have done a great job of building it up and discussing every character. I They won't do it for like skeleton builders and stuff like that. They don't have much. There's not much to include in for what they are. Builders like skeleton builders. I said army builders. There's not a lot to say about them. Because they're just essentially add characters, but the named characters usually all have great biography to them and a backstory to them. You can see, their weapons, additional heads, their what role they play in the universe. And they do have a video game coming out. I think it's going to be released on Xbox, PlayStation, and then of course PC. And I think I might try and get into that. I'm gonna see.
For Mythic Legions?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely have to play that.
I think it's gonna be like a role playing game, but yeah, it's overall. I would say I think they do a lot to it. I will say I would love to see the story progress, and I don't know if there's an ultimate end where they would do that, or if it's just going to continually be a growth of characters and biography into the story. I think they've done a decent job at not writing them into corners with a lot of these figures. I think the way they do it with a biography on each figure is a great way to keep things wide open and just kind of give backstory to a lot of them, like what they've done, how they got there, um, things like that. And that's part of what I love about them, what got me into it. Um, yeah, I think they do a great job there. For the future of the line, it would be cool to see some better articulation overall. But I know I'm splitting hairs there. Like I said, a lot of times you sacrifice looks with that, and I don't really think I want to do that. I would love to see a dragon eventually come. I think that may come as a sort like from a Kickstarter type thing, maybe a crowdsourcing type thing if they do a dragon, because they've teased it for a while and it would be very, very large. So there may be something to that. I'm not entirely sure on what we will get with that. But I would love to see that someday, an actual like in scale dragon form. It would be enormous. It'd have to be enormous, right? Like damn near the size of my desk.
Yeah.
Um, and it'd be ridiculously expensive, I'm sure, but that would be one thing I think that I would like to see from the line overall. And I would honestly like to see more of Illythia's brood. I don't know how many people are big fans of them like me. It seems like everyone's always selling them, so I don't not the new ones, but some of the older ones, so I don't know like how big they are with the community, but I really like them. I'm a huge fan of that faction, and I hope for more there. But yeah, that's the kind of my thoughts. I think this figure is a fantastic release. Excuse me. I think it's great. It really shows off what they can do. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, with the accessories comes loaded. Great figure. Could have been up for I think 12 scale figure of the year in my opinion. I think it could have been a nomination there, but it was hard to beat out Hulkbuster there. But overall, yeah, there's a lot to kind of like about this figure overall. But I think that's about it. That's all we got here. We kind of did a 2-for-1 here in this showcase, but now I want to kind of finish her up thanking our Patreonies. We got And oh, actually, I should again plug our Small Talk Selfie Series giveaway. Please join that. Again, join Collecting Weekly Auxiliary, our Facebook group. Find my pinned post there, and you will see the added pictures of. I'm going to work on that right as soon as we get off live here. Um, so by the time you're seeing this, it should be updated, but you'll see the skeleton pack, 2-pack, and then the Black Series Boba Fett. So what makes all of this possible? We want to thank our Patreonies. That is Sean Fear, Ian Seavey, Renee Mendez, Eric Mariscal, Quinn Aguirre, King Louis, Mark Pearson, Paul Schreiber, James Colley, Ekwan, Chris Valance, Serena, Ben Thomas, Chris Letty, David Jones, Sam Gist, Daminator, Joao Breda, Thomas Clark, Dan Lee, Deanie Martin, Stephen Krett, Big Fern, King Zachary V, Caesar Marroquin, Mark Phillips, Lisa Martin Bomonsky, Rick D. Gregorio, The Everyday Collector, Ricardo Valdez, Jose CZ, Erwin Asusina, The Illustrious Rainer, Alid Morgan, Tukathri, Wah, Derek B. Ziazinski, Eric Portillo, Mark Randolph, Pablo Meza, Carlos Saavedra, D-Rock, Matt Clevenger, Seth Tucker, CC3PO, Scott Smith, Don Maton, Jimmy James, Stephen Purchase, Sean Usby, Scott Bradley, Stephen Maria Stanley, and Eddie Manzanares, Luis Bennett, Chip Perrin, Jimmy Hernandez, Gigi the Judgmental, and, of course, Brenton Palmer. Thank you guys so much. You allow us to do these type of things, these giveaways, and obviously give you guys content. For our December Patreon benefits, you get the Wreath Collecting Weekly magnet, sorry. For our YouTube channel members, we also want to thank Mojo Z78, Absolute Irwin, DK Avenger 702, MFG Rick, S Beam, Andreas IB, Daminator, Sam Gist, Thomas Clark, Benjamin Hansen, Chris V, Big Ol' Fern, Cram, OG Fan, Mark Pearson, Ben Thomas, Paul Schreiber, Andrew Gibo, CC3PO, Carlito, CT603, Eddie Mendez, Sia Dreams, Jay Sia, B-Chan, and Fat Batman. Thank you guys so much. If you want to become a Patreon, $5 a month will get you the Hot Seat tier. That is where you get to show your support by getting all the digital benefits, which is Ox After Dark, replay, the Patreon chat, and weekly shoutouts. And that includes Discord benefits. As do all of these tiers. Sweet Angel, $7.50 a month. You get so this one is $7.50 a month. You get a sticker sent straight to your door, as well as access to Ox After Dark. And then with Certified Crispy, $15 a month, you will get all of the previous tiers items there, awards, and then the Certified Crispy certificate on first pledge, assistance with figure fixes by Zach. But make sure to message him beforehand to make sure it's possible. And then What a Guy at $25 a month. You get a exclusive Pog Deluxe set on first pledge, doubles of all the stickers and benefits of the previous tiers. International postage above $5 will be charged at cost. For the Pog, stickers will be sent every other month. For Patreonies, if you want to be a YouTube member, it's only 99 cents. You get the loyalty badges there, and then exclusive emojis, and then member shoutouts. If you're not a Patreonie, we have the Peanut Gallery at $2.99. Here is our network. Sorry. Collecting Weekly, they go live every Tuesday. You guys just had the award show. Just missed. I was very bummed to miss, or just had that. I was very bummed to miss that, unfortunately. We were having a blizzard here, and it knocked out our power around that time. I was having issues with my monitors. Thank God I got one of them did come back. The other one, I am waiting for a part. Only Fools in Collecting. They are every other Thursday, so next Thursday they will be going live. I believe they skipped last week's show. Ian had some things going on there. And then Small Talk, obviously. We are every other Thursday. So our next show will be a normal news show, like what we typically do. And that will be, let's see here, I believe January 5th will be our next show. And then we have After Dark every Wednesday, Bricks and Brews. I believe they just went live yesterday. They typically do the last Sunday of the month, but obviously next Sunday is going to be Christmas. So they just went live there. And then we got the Ringcast, Collecting Weekly Live Unboxing every Monday. Collectors Club is on Friday, so they'll be going live tomorrow with John. He also does live unboxing as well. And then Live and Let Dice. I believe there's something set up for that. Give me 1 second. I can update you there on what we have coming up with that. Oh, I guess not. We just got the Collectors Club and live unboxing scheduled. Only Fools in Collecting. They look to be going live on the 22nd. They 2:30 p.m. Central Time is when they are scheduled. So that would work out well there, since that'll be your live kick there. So make sure to check those guys out. Sean, do you have anything else you want to add? Any shout outs?
Just Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates it. Happy holidays for everybody else. We'll see you guys in the new year. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love spending time with my family. I'm excited to just get together for the holidays. Of course, it's always a good time. I don't know, Sean. I think you said you're ways away from your family, but I do a good job of seeing my family. Quite a few times a year. But obviously, this drive is only make it a handful of times. I'm praying for good weather. Oh God, I'm hoping that I can make it there. It's been a nightmare the last couple of years, but we should be good. So, thank you to all of our listeners here who are tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Let us know if there's anything else you guys want us to check out. If we are getting the figures, we're happy to review a lot of things. I know Eddie and I have talked about a kind of lesser known figure coming up in doing. I don't have mine in hand. He has his from their LA Con. But we've discussed doing the LA Comic Con exclusive Berserker Studio Myth Series Battle Damage Zeus. I know a lot of people like the first version. Battle Damage, he's obviously bloody, kind of ripped up, things like that. So we're considering that, and I will keep you guys updated with that. We obviously have more Mythic Legions to look at, so let us know what you guys would like to see there. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much all we got for our show here. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year. I hope all of your dreams come true. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Small Talk, the show where we talk about absolutely nothing important at all. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys. Merry Christmas.